Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Professor Shubhashish Modak, Director, Learning and Development at Udaan Aviation Academy, and your host for the day. Now, many of you already know us, but for those who don't, Udaan Aviation Academy is a fast-growing aviation learning platform. We have come up with range of interesting initiatives like online training, workshop, aviation blogs, and many more in the pipeline as well. Now, one of the most important initiatives here at Udaan, which we take pride in, is the aviation webinars. And that is what exactly we all have gathered here for. Now, it's been long that we have been requested to cover the world of airport business. It's just that we have been waiting for the right time and for the right expert. We are glad to welcome the expert and speaker for the day, Mr. Mitthun Singh. Now, Mr. Mitthun is a globally traveled professional with over 13 plus years of experience in non-aero revenue businesses for major airports around the world. And he has played a major part in creating exceptional experiences in travel retail. He has worked with Bangalore Airport in non-aero business space for over 3 years. Following that, he has worked as a senior manager non-aero business for Bali International Airports at Denpasar. Moving on, he went on to work with GVK Mumbai Airport as senior manager projects and business development. Currently, he is the senior manager for commercial operations at the very ambitious Adani airports and has played a strategic role in transition phases for Lucknow and Mangalore airport in recent times. Today, he is going to enlighten us on the very important topic of understanding how airport businesses work from a non-aeronautical perspective. Now, I'm sure that you all are excited to hear straight from the speaker, but allow me to make a couple of announcements before we start the proceedings. Throughout the course of this entire webinar, your microphones will be muted to make sure that we have a sterile environment for our guest speaker to speak. However, if you have got any queries during the entire webinar, you can drop in a message to our host in the chat box. There is a dedicated question and answer session at the end of the presentation. So it would make a great opportunity to have your questions lined up as the presentation goes, and then those can be answered during the dedicated Q&A session. Now, without any further ado, more about the topic from the man himself. Over to you, Mr. Mitthun. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Subhashis, and I'm so sorry because I'm at Ahmedabad airport and internet is an issue because just recently we moved in. So beginning with, as Subhashish mentioned, the idea whole came in that why should we do with the non-aeronautical perspective, because as a professionals you all will be aware Adani won 6 of these airports in the recent bid, and most of these beds were based on the non-aeronautical revenue. So if you understand the business model of the airport, the entire concept going forward are existing is based on the non-aeronautical revenue. So we can move. See what I have done is based on my own experience. So I have traveled to more than 20 countries myself, and I have seen myself 20 best of the airports, which are ranked very high on the customer service, as well as also on the non-aeronautical offering. So when I say non-aeronautical offering is nothing in my terms, it's simple. When you fly, where your motivation is only to fly, and in between you find the experience which is offered to you as you travel, is what is we make a transaction, and that's what I say is a non-aeronautical revenue. So I define the perspective completely different. So what I have done is I've tried to select and what is the best thing which most of you professionals, you might be knowing about the aviation, airports, airlines, ground handlings and things on that. But I wanted to bring you to a major perspective, which is most of the professionals today rely. And that is on how do you provide an excellent airport experience? How do you differentiate it? And that this presentation is wholly based on that. Then we can move next. Yeah. So what I have done is I've tried to tell you what are the main drivers for the retail sale when you enter the airports. Why do you buy? So the whole concept of the non-aeronautical revenue has been that It is simple. If you look at our Hindi term, there's very famous Hindi terms. It says, "Jo dikta hai, wo bikta hai." So the whole concept is driven on the philosophy that all these shops which are there should be visible, there should be time to shop, and there should be right shop, right? That's how you will be able to drive sale. Just because they are shops, you will not go and buy, and just because they are not visible, you don't intend to shop. So all these things are the key driver for the and retail sale. uh, yeah. So this philosophy, how do you make sale, and how do you develop a key retail principles on the airports? So whole philosophy of the retail principles on the airport has been the walk-through duty-free stores. So if you ask me, walk-through duty-free stores, this concept for India or for Asia Pacific might be new, but it was already 20 years back that the walk-through duty-free store was introduced in Heathrow Airport. And what do you mean by walk-through is nothing but it's like you are walking in between the store, which you have the the shopping experience on both side, and you are walking in between, where you have 100% visibility of the shops when you walk in. And second fact is that customers should dwell. When I say dwell means, once you enter an airport and you are sitting comfortably after your check-in, you could like to have an experience where you have shops behind you, shops in right hand side of you, shops on the left hand side of you. So that's how you create that atmosphere by offering an F&B outlet where you can enjoy your meal and look around for the offerings which is there in the airport. So the whole concept, if you go to Heathrow, or if you go to any of the European airports, so there is two concept of the dwell which is created. So F&B is created in such a way that it creates a whole shopping experience for the retail. I hope you are understanding the flow which I'm going in. Yeah. So the passenger journey, all of us who are there in this call, all of us in lifetimes have traveled, been traveling. So I don't need to experience. But for very important, when we develop any airport, we always understand the passenger journey, and we try to create the experience and the offering which is required for that passenger in that particular moment of their journey. So, like when you go in check-in, your whole purpose and a motivation in your check-in is only to ensure that you drop your bag, you collect your boarding pass. You are not looking for any offering of F&B, but you will definitely look for baggage wrapping. You will definitely look for if you have just arrived 3 hours before, you will definitely look for some coffee shops where you can sit and relax yourself before going into the check-in counter. So one has to understand why the shops are located in that particular locations, and why they are not located in the location which you might feel that they should have been a shop. So as a professional, we all understand your journey. We understand where is what needed. And that's how, as a professional, we need to ensure that that particular offering or that particular concept is available to the passenger when he travels. So you all might be new to non-aero if you understand non-aeronautical revenue. So one question always will come, which I answered in the previous slide. Why do there's more shops located in SHA, that's the security holding area after you pick up your boarding pass? And why is there less of shops in your check-in area or in the piers where you go for a boarding? So whole concept is the 80% of our revenue, which is generated in the area where you enter after taking your boarding pass. And the whole idea is that is a place where you have time, right? Once you have checked in, you have dropped your bag, you have collected your boarding pass, you have cleared the security, and that's the place where you relax. And that's the place where we have to ensure that we offer you the best shopping experience and a great offering on terms of F&B. Because retail is nothing but it's all, people don't go to the airport to buy anything. It is just that moment of journey. It's instinct. You see, you buy. You don't see, you don't buy. So it's also impulse buying things which happens at the airport. That's why you see why certain brands performs very good at the airport and why certain brands do not perform at the airport. So like if you look at hundreds of retail brands, there are only a couple of brands which has been very successful in the airport, and that's what we call it as a travel retail category, because they know what is a passenger when he's traveling, what is his motivation, and why will he buy that and why he will not buy that. So whole experience has been that. Now you might have seen a slide here, baggage hall area. The reason the baggage hall also performs very well, this typically happens in the international terminal. Why international terminal is because we have duty free, right? And most of our Indians, when we travel, we look for duty free for their quality of offering, especially the liquor segment. So if you look at this 20% of revenue which is coming at baggage area is purely because of duty free. So if you take out duty free, the baggage area is negligible. The next biggest category which performs good is the landside area, which I will cover it in the next slide. So one thing what you have understood is you might have. I'm sorry if we are in a mute. So if in case don't understand, you can always use your chat box, and I will try to answer. So what I've tried to tell you is why it is important that before you build an airport, why it is important that you plan for the commercials, and what it should be the whole concept of commercial. And the third thing which we have tried to analyze is where it should be there and why it should be there. So these three things we have covered so far. The next thing which comes is why and how much is the area required for an actual commercial. So the whole principle on these things has been on there's only two factors which has been catered is how much is better, or how much is really required. Can anybody answer that? No, right? Because we don't know. If you go to Delhi, Mumbai, or any of the European airports, you will find whole lot of shopping experience. But have you ever thought why they have so much of outlets, or why do they have the F&B outlets in that particular fashion? So whole of these concept comes from your passenger survey. So what we have tried to cover in this PPT is this particular slide is how much is the ideal commercial area for a passengers who are traveling. So if you look at this slide, the European benchmark is for international passengers, you have 800 square meter per million departing pax. And for domestic, it is 4 million. Now, why international is more and domestic is less? The answer is the dwell time. International passengers, they arrive 3 hours before. They have almost 1.5 an hour to 2 hours time. Hence, the F&B area or the duty-free area which is required to offer them is quite larger. And the domestic, the dwell time is lesser. Hence, the retail space which is available is considerably low. And the numbers of passenger flying is also very high. So, but if you look at our own three airports, which is Bangalore T2, which is upcoming, which will be the ideal retail destination if you read about it in the newspaper. And I was associated with that project because my ex-boss, Kenneth Gulberg, who is the chief commercial officer, he was my boss in Bali Airport. So I was closely involved for that project. And hence that could be the ideal best commercially planned airport in coming days once it opens. Mumbai T2 was also one of the higher retail category airports. I cannot ask you how's your experience. You should definitely share it, whether you like it or you don't like it. Delhi was again one of the best category. When I say DPS, DPS is nothing but this is Bali Airport, then Pasar Airport. So we did this slide. We were comparing ourselves when we were developing for Navi Mumbai Airport. So that's how we had done this analysis, that how much should be the commercial area required for Navi Mumbai Airport. So how do we determine space? I will these slides will be available. You can definitely go through it. So ideally, what we try to understand is how much is the space required per person, how much time he will be there in that particular place, and what is the associated infrastructure required for that particular passenger. So that's how we take the ratio and what should be the ideal. So for the lounge, when we take an average for the lounge, what we do is we understand what will be the per hour peak passenger, how much will be the time each passenger will be spending on the lounge, and what could be the experience level we could like to offer him. Experience level in the sense, is that sofa sitting, are we just have 1.5 square meter, are we just have 0.75 square meter. So all this depends how much space we have and how much is the experience we are going to offer. So that whole things depends on this parameter. Again, we all need to be of an understanding that it differs airport to airport. So there's no rule of thumb which goes in, but as a general philosophy, we follow this logic. So commercial planning roadmap, normally all of you, when you travel, you think you might like it, you might criticize it, you might have a good opinion, bad opinion, but you should always understand that it takes almost 6 months to 12 months exercise to design anything, even in the airport. And the right time to design anything in the airport is when you start constructing the terminal. So what happens generally, just you as a professionals who are there, and so normally the commercial planning cannot happen once the terminal is built. The commercial planning should always happen when the concept of the terminal building is developed. So I'll give an example, like Jewar Airport, right? It is started. So if you see, Jewar will already have commercial team who are have experience in travel, retail, commercial, and they will be also professional who understands what could be the ideal requirement for the passengers. So from the beginning itself, when they dig the foundation stone for the building, you will have a commercial guy working with them, giving his own expertise that what could be the requirement going forward. And when we do any commercial planning, keep in mind, you don't plan for today. You plan for next 10 years or 10 years or 15 years, considering the ultimate capacity of the terminal. So like, for example, Mumbai, if you have the terminal, which is built for 42 or 43 million passengers, arrival and departure put together. So the commercial area design there is for 20,000 square meter, which is that because of the size of the terminal that is possible. So your passengers will keep increasing. Your commercial areas does not increase unless and until we have some innovative stuff and we take out some areas which is not utilized by the airlines or passengers. So you can go through this slide. It will give an understanding that why you all as a professionals or who are looking to work in the airport, there's a huge scope in this particular field, which I have seen in India. Yeah. So there's always a debate, bigger the airport. I know most of you have traveled in Mumbai, and if you get an allocation of gate which is away from the main terminal, you need to walk. Like if you go 41 1B or 41 1A in Mumbai airport, if you have Indigo boarding and you clear your security, and if you have to run for the boarding gate, you definitely will not like the experience. But again, this is debatable, things, how much should be the walking distance. And I could like to share going forward in the slides they are that, see, the whole concept of walking distance, especially if it is a commercial offering, it's a bit like when you see your shops around you, you will never mind walking because you're walking in experience. But you find nothing around you and you are just walking the bare wall, and there's nothing to look around, you will definitely feel that uh, you know uh, futures, or you will not feel that experience which you could be offering. So there's very interesting slide after this, and I will definitely show you. So this is mostly that there's always debate that how much should you allow the passengers to walk, and what should be the ideal experience which you should be offering to the passengers. So whole lots of debate keeps going, but so far there's no conclusion which has been coming, because bigger the airport, you have to walk, because aircraft has to get the parking space, you have to get the aero bridges. So all this debate keeps happening, and there's always a strategic debate how we are going to plan the commercials. So why I'm sharing all these slides is, this is on the planning stage when we take over any greenfield airport, or we have a brownfield airport which we look to redesign. So all these things we keep in mind when we are designing the commercial offering. So there's always a debate, why do you see automatic check-in counters being introduced, baggage drop being increased, the number of CSF personnel being increased? all those debate happens is you need to allow the passenger to spend maximum time inside the airport. So if he spends maximum time in the airport, your business will improve. He will buy. He will spend your times in the airport. But again, this logic is good for certain times. Beyond certain times, if a passenger is staying anyhow, that shopping behavior starts getting down. So ideal time we always look for is 60 minutes or 90 minutes is the ideal time where you should be. You have a dual time. So all this concept keeps debate happens that and when we give these shops to the players, be it Starbucks and everything, the whole debate what they do is before they put in their shops, they check on the profile of the packs which you have, what kind of people are traveling from this airport. Then the next thing they check is what kind of airlines we are there, and then the third thing which they check is what is the average time these people are spending. So if you look at a flight like Indigo, for example, what they do always boarding 40 minutes before the departure time. So if a passenger has a flight and he arrives the airport, the trend is now people arrive only 1.5 hours before the flights. He spends 10 to 15 minutes with whatever is process, and then ideally he is having only 20 minutes. So the whole concept of offering for him in 20 minutes will only be your quick service restaurant, which can quickly deliver. And you cannot go for a fine dining restaurant which is there in European airports or also in a couple of Asian airports. So whole this understanding is taken from the airline perspective, the type of airlines traveling, the type of passenger profiles, how people are coming from the city side to the airport, and all these things comes into the debate that what should be the kind of concept there and how that will increase our revenue. You can go ahead. Nikhil. So this call to the gate principle there has been that what happens, as a commercial, we always keep complaining to the people, especially the uh, design, that what people do is as soon as they check in, they take their boarding pass, they do the security, and they go to the boarding gate and sit. They go to the F&B and retail outlets. So there always has been debate that we should not show the boarding gate to the passengers. The boarding gate to the passenger should be available just half an hour, 45 minutes before the flight. That is what we try to communicate. That don't show the gate number to the passengers unless and until just 30 minutes before the flight, you need to show the gate to the passengers. So the passengers will spend the customers will spend their quality time in F&B and retail area before they go into the boarding gates. And this is a couple of principles which is adopted already in European airports. Not been very great success in Indian airport, but this was a study we did for one of our airports, and hopefully in going future we will implement this, that the call to the gate should be at the right moment. But again, we need to understand the kind of profile of people who travels from our airport is quite different. We have to take care of everybody. There are people who are traveling for the first time, people who cannot understand English, people who cannot read. So all these things we have to take in experience, and how we can create this whole concept of strategic call to the gate. So this was a debate we do when we do any commercial planning exercise. So again, yeah, we can go next. Yeah. So what it is a bit of technical, but I wanted you to understand that a lot of this is as a huge demand professionally, and has a concept you should realize that an airport going forward, what was there 10 years back, right from Delhi T3 airport to Mumbai T2 to Bangalore upcoming T2 airport to Jewar airport to Navi Mumbai airport, all these airports are going to be a commercially advanced in times kind of offering. And even if you see with Adani 6 airports, the whole concept will be on the commercial offering, because you need to make the difference. And how do we make the difference? You cannot change the airlines, you cannot change the runway, you cannot change the check-in counter, you cannot change the CSF. The only thing, what is the only thing you can change? The only thing you can change is inside your kind of retail F&B offering, as well as your whole concept of the the atmosphere of the airport, the ambience of the airport. This is what you can change. Rest of the everything remains same, you cannot change. So that's how this whole debate starts. So guys, I hope I'm not boring you. Uh, so what has been the most successful model? Definitely, you might have understood there is a retail principles, there is a strategic gaze principle, there is a whole lot of dwell time concept, there's a whole lot of what should be the USP of the commercial. The most three most successful model on the retail has been snake, dwell, and hybrid. So I will explain you in detail what is snake, what is dwell, and what is hybrid. Snake is nothing but you just walk through a store where you have shops on both the side before you reach the boarding gate. The dwell time is nothing. You have this flow. Again, it's a mix of snake as well as dwell time concept. So what is a dwell time concept is nothing but you walk from the check-in, you do your security holding, you walk through the shops, and you come to one particular place where you sit, and you have shops whole around you, your behind you, left hand side, right hand side, and that's how you're sitting there, but you're looking at these shops. So we feel that there's going to be opportunity for impulse buying. Impulse, you see it, you like it, you want to buy it. So whole that atmosphere is created in the dwell time. Hybrid time is nothing but it's a mix of your snake and dwell time. So you will have a concept which will be given to you, and which also have a walkthrough concept to you. I will show you specifically which are the airport who has done like this, just for your idea. So this is what is a whole concept. You can go through it, but it's very interesting to understand. So whole concept internationally is followed even in retail is, as soon as you cross your immigration, you always find duty free, right? And then you find your luxury items, you have then F&B, and then after F&B you have the affordable and as well as the essentials items which is there, right? So the whole planning works is the higher category, ATV category. I think if you understand ATV, it is average value transaction. The costlier items are the items which is impulse, that are always kept in the front. And once you have crossed that, then you get the affordable and F&B outlets. We can move next time. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So I'll give you the example. This is the snake concept. This is our Bali airport. It was the most successful commercial airport, I have worked. And when I went there in 2014, and to the change, there was a revenue increase of almost 12 times. Now, what happens in 12 times is we ensured that there's 100% footfall to all the shops. So every passenger passes through every shops. And so if you can understand this layout by seeing there's an arrow mark, once you create your crosses your immigration right on this star which is there, if you see that, you walk through complete store, and what you see in blue was the F&B areas. They were best F&B areas offering you all this, and there was a Hard Rock Cafe. Mind it, one of the blue shop was Hard Rock Cafe, and it was one of the best performing restaurant over there, because we had more of Australians, followed by French, Germans, UK restaurants, UK, and also we had high number of Chinese. There were 23% Chinese travelers. So you see the green area, that was a duty free area, run by three of the best travel retail company. So we had Dufry. You might have understand Dufry is the largest duty free operator in the world. Followed by we had DFS. DFS is again an US based company but headquartered in Hong Kong. And then you had HMS Host, and also we had SSB. So these were the best operators. So if you anytime Google it, you will find them that these operator ranks in top 10. So this was a 5 years experience we had worked with them at the outlet. So again, this is Bangalore Airport. So Bangalore Airport is also more of a concept of snake. But in between, you have the flow where certain passengers can directly go to the boarding gate. So whole concept, the idea what we tried to show Bangalore and Bali is because it was more of a same team. We work together. So you might see the similarity in the concept. Yeah, Tanmay. Again, the concept which I explained you, it is like bringing entire passengers to one particular locations, and you have F&B or retail surrounding that those passengers. So that is also one most successful concept where you make people to clear their immigration, clear their security, then come to one particular place, have a sit down, and you have all the shops whole around you. So you are creating that people are sitting, but they're looking around the shops around themselves. Yeah. So again, this is an example of how Heathrow Airport is. So what I said, people flow from different directions and they have this seating, common seating. And what you see in the blue is the restaurant. So everybody comes to the center of the terminal and you have the whole shop around you. So you are creating a dual experience. The people are sitting and there's a shops around. So definitely, like people like you and me, if you are sitting and if we find something very interesting, rather than sitting, we'll definitely walk into any of the store and buy something. Though I'm not a very impulse buyer, but you always get that you'll find something which is very unique and you will love to go and experience that. Yeah. Again, Heathrow terminal. This is T3. And see, these airports are one of the most successful in commercial revenue term. So if you list out the top 10 best shopping airports, you will always find Heathrow mentioned as one of the top airports, along with, of course, Changi, Incheon, and things like that. But Heathrow is always rated high in terms of commercial revenue perspective. Again, Gatwick Airport, you have the similar concept. You can move on then. The hybrid model, again, it's a what do we say, creating both linear as well as circular. So what we are trying to tell you through this presentation is, you might have see we have my GVK logo there still. What we are trying to create is, once you process your immigration, you go to a very ultra lux area, and then you have the high dwell time, then you have the duty free, then again you have a dwell, you stop for a while, you have luxury, then you stop for a while, and you have all your F&B and experience zone over there. So this concept is also quite unique, you will find it that people love it, especially when you are a leisure traveler. So this is will anybody like this airport? Yeah, when I went first time to London Stansted Airport, my God, I was quite tired walking the store. But this is one of the, again, most successful airport. Ryanair, the low cost airlines, flies from this airport. But they're commercially one of the most successful airport in Europe. So you look at the way you clear your your security, you clear your immigration, and look at the distance. It's flies only to Europe, but look at the distance which you have to travel to catch your boarding gate. If somebody does it in India like this, people will start honking around. But that's the experience you create. You don't want people to just come and sit in the airport for 1 hour. You will definitely like the people to move around the shops and establish and successful retail and F&B things. Yeah, very interesting layout. If you get an opportunity, you should go to this airport. Again, London Luton Airport. So my one of my colleagues, senior most colleague with whom I also had an experience and learned most of these things. He was an ex-employee of Heathrow Airport, and he was the vice president strategy for Heathrow Airport. And that's how I was quite influenced to travel to UK and experience all these airports before we started, operating here. Yes, please. This I don't had a full picture, but again, Changi Terminal 4. If you have all traveled to Changi Terminal 4, which was touted to be the most advanced airport in its category, because Air Asia introduced entire touchless experience over this airport, and this was the airport which has heavy utilization of technology. And this is also the airport, where you travel from Singapore downtown and you can enter the terminal within 10 minutes. You clear your check-in, you will clear your immigration, you can clear your security, and 5 to 7 minutes you will be inside the terminal. Hope we find this kind of experience also in Indian airports. And you will find entire technology run on automation. Even your baggage drop, things completely works on automation. There's no human interference which is there. So one of the best airport you should definitely experience, and If you travel to Singapore Air Asia, this is the terminal which you will be using it. So what so far we have tried to tell you is just to give a little bit of feedback. And of course, at 5:30, it is always a boring session to understand. But entire airports, going forward, if you see all the private airports will be more interested in finding the professionals who can create difference in the airport. It will, because these are the things which will going to create difference and going to generate revenue. So airport infrastructure is going to be mostly, where passengers will judge you. So if you look at Mumbai, Delhi, when they were old airport and you see their ASQ rating, airport service quality rating, they were very low. As soon as there was a new infrastructure ambience created, Delhi and Mumbai became number one airports in the world. So you see how difference you can create by creating a new infrastructure and completely change the ambience of the airport. So that's why we say airport infrastructure is very important to create that experience. And they say na, a satisfied customer will always spend more in terms of than a non-satisfied customer. Yeah. So that's why you see why Mumbai was designed like a peacock with a grand look, because the design itself gives you an overall upliftment. You don't need to do anything. But the overall design, whatever wrong thing happens, but when you look at from outside Mumbai T2 terminal, you feel really proud of the kind of structure which is coming, or even Delhi inside the interior. So that's how it is very important that how do you create the terminal. Yeah, then. Okay, see, these are the things you guys should always know if you are looking to pursue. There's a concept of called sense of space, right? So if I'm in Ahmedabad airport, there should be something which depicts the higher culture of Ahmedabad, which is locally pronounced. So there should be a rich culture, heritage of Ahmedabad, which should be depicted. And that's how, when you look at it, you feel proud that there's something which is there. And this is what is a concept concept, which is in European or most of the Western airports, are including India airports. You will find the sense of place is created. That, like, you see Bangalore T2 terminal, the whole concept is the airport is going to be the garden. So what does this garden depicts? It depicts the city. Bangalore was known as, of course, I don't know whether it is there now, but Bangalore was known as Garden City. So that's how the concept of Garden City comes in. If you look at Mumbai T2, it gives you the whole heritage of art and artifacts. India was a rich country of art and artifacts. And again, that's built in the peacock, which is our national bird. So that's how it has become very important, the designing elements to create the sense of place. That where are you and what that particular place depicts. So it is like a little bit of emotional attachment to the concept which is added in the terminal. Again, this is your Changi Terminal 4, which again depicts the downtown landmark. So again, what you do, you try to sense yourself that you might have seen in downtown or you might have missed it in downtown. But again, this is iconic structure which creates a feel good factor, for all of us. Okay, so what so far I have done it, hope I have not bored you guys. But what I have done is I've tried to tell you how it is important to design the terminal, and what it really differentiates is commercial. Because you cannot change the airlines, you cannot change any boarding cases, airside you cannot change anything. There's a protocol, there's a safety measures, security you cannot change. The only thing which you can change and differentiate yourself is the whole commercial offering and the principle of commercial inside the terminals. Even the selection of shops, brands, concept, F&B, retail services, your art and artifacts. So all these are the factor which differentiate the experience. So coming to the land side, it is very important, when you go to any of the European airports or even in India, see how you reach airport is very important, but most of these airport fails to discover that if you don't provide economically transport option from the airport, people might think twice, to travel to the airport. So look at example of Bangalore. See, Bangalore has been a most successful airport, but the only available mode of transportation which is cheaper is your bus, BMTC buses, which takes you 200 rupees downtown. But that is not a faster mode of transportation. And the next available is your Ola, Uber, your car rental, prepaid taxis. So it is very important that when we plan airport, we also cater to the how people will be reaching airport and how will they be able to reach their destinations. So with Tanmay, we can go quickly with this. I think it's 5:42. So what we are saying is passenger experience. When we take experience, all of us touches definitely one or other point of this experience, right? Either you will go to parking, either you'll go to check-in, either you will be going to security, either you'll go to retail, toilet, signages. So one of these experience definitely you have when you travel inside the airport. And why it is important for us to look at all of this experience in a similar fashion. We cannot neglect. Yeah. So this I've seen a lot of people, this is one of has been my passion. A lot of people are the professionals never take car parking as a serious business, but if you look at Europe or US, it contributes to 40% of the non-aero revenue. So in your total non-aero revenue, car parking contributes the highest revenue, and it is the only business which is a cash flow business, which you gives a instant cash deposited in your account, and it is the only business which has a higher EBITDA margin. So you need to also look at the car parking as a very interesting subject if you like the home mobility as your area of interest. So, car parking is the most sensitive subject. I don't need to explain to you. It's like you can pay 200, 300 rupees for a popcorn or a Pepsi in PVR. But if you're charged 50 rupees for a parking or 60 rupees of parking, you will definitely not be very happy with that. So all this the perception is very sensitive. Hence, it is very important that what should be the ideal charges. So it's like airport has to decide what is that you should be charging, because airport also has a limited space. So and we cannot be make it free, or we cannot charge it less, we cannot charge it very high. Hence airport also, we all keep in mind when we define the tariff, that what is our ideal motivation of the tariff plan. Yeah, Tanvi. So, this was somebody asked me when I was doing a little bit of research 8 years back, that how should be the tariff of the airport. So, this was a famous dialogue which I discovered. So, which was told by the US Supreme Court, and this is on the pornography. He said that they say that the right pricing for car parking is when I know it when I see it. So, when you enter a car park, you experience yourself, and if you find it ease, clean, neat, you don't mind it paying 50 rupees, right? And but when you enter something which is congested, you very have narrow space, you cannot open your you cannot open your door, you cannot open your windshield, you don't get a trolley. So that is the time you will decide whether this is the right price, parking price, or it is they are looting us. So whole thing is that I know it when I see it. This is the concept all runs on the car parking side. And very important, see, when we do survey, you might have seen this ASQ survey, right? All of you have definitely keep Mumbai become number one, Delhi becomes number one, or Heathrow becomes number one, or Changi becomes number one. But one thing, mind it, out of the entire parameter, the first four parameter is depicted on the parking, whether there is a space, whether there is a access properly, whether there is a transportation available from the airport, and when there is transportation from downtown to the airport. So whole these things is very important. Most of the people miss it. They look at only terminal, but this experience is also equally very important on the city side. Again, as I mentioned, so this is the ASQ, ACI ASQ rating sheet when you get it to fill, right? When you travel. So if you see the first four parameters is directly related to the car parking. So if anything goes wrong in this, the passenger will never give you 5 out of 5. He will definitely give 3 out of 5, and you might not be the best airport. So it they say another, and this is also the first contact with the airport, right? So when you come to the airport, the first thing which you see is a road, car parking, and if that is not clean, you already make your impression. Or when you are departing, this is your last experience which you see, right, before you fly to your destination. So whole concept is in that way. So again, this is quickly You need to look into design, landscaping, and all these things are very important element of the line side also. So just to sum up, what we say has an line side area, the car parking area is, it's a first contact of the passenger and is the last contact of the passengers. So this is the first time when you enter airport, you see it, and when you leave the airport, this is the last point you. So it's very important that this area also, when you are professional, you join airport or you are at the airport, you always need to keep these things in mind. Like a lot of best restaurant, if you go, you keep the dining area very clean and neat, but when you go into the restroom of that particular even best of the restaurant, you'll find the restrooms are so pathetic. So I make my impression always from the kind of toilets they maintain. I always make the impression the kind of F&B area they keep. I don't make impression from the dining area. So I'm very particular when I travel. I look for these two things. If their toilets are clean, if their food preparation area is clean, then I get comfort. Yes, they are giving a hygienic food for it has to eat. So all the things are very important. So again, this is when we develop, we always put key how we are going to improve the line side area. So this is small gips of that. This was example which gave it to the Bali airport. So when we took over Bali airport, we made a target for ourselves in this way. So it's always as a professional, we should decide what are we now, what is our strengths and capabilities, where are we good, where are we bad, and then we should decide where we will be in next 2 years, 3 years. Like whenever people ask me, I'm not very concerned, fancy about the position, but I always love the kind of job I do. So if you see me, I'm not very focused on whether I'm the director, vice president, thing, but I see what is the work which I'm doing, and that work, whether it is really contributing, whether I'm enjoying, I get a less paid, it's fine, but I should enjoy that moment and enjoy the job from nine, irrespective of timings, and then I can build up on that. So that whole has been the experience of mine, and I could like to share yourself also to get into that. That always see where we are, how we will, where we want to be, and how we will reach. So there's always these three things I follow personally in life too. Next time, right? So this is snapshot. We do a little bit of changes, and we saw the Bali became number one airport at a very short time. So I'm giving an example of car park within a short span of 2 years. See, it's a simple. You put anything your hand, you should always complete it. You should not live in between. And there's always saying, right, that you cut a grass in such a way that cow can eat. So you do whatever, put in your heart and soul, and you always will be successful. You don't need to look back. So this is what I always follow in the principle at the airport. Whatever is given to me, I try to put my heart, thinking, soul, and I interact with industry people. I'm very active in LinkedIn. I talk to people from different perspective. I listen to them. I also make my own assessment whether it's right. And my whole concept of commercial has been that not how much you can make, whether the concept is right. If the concept is good, we will make money. So whole funda is go for the concept, not for the money. Yes, Tanmay, please. Again, this is we became number one airport within our working. So that's an achievement for us. Yeah. So the new world, people, this is some kind of, car parking also is a huge business actually. If you see on the technology side, it's $1 billion business altogether. And you see a lot of startups in India also have started with this mobile app for the car parking booking. And I have been privileged to work with one of the company, which is Key Data. It's based out of Austria, and they are the world largest leader in this particular technology. So the whole world is, you have to give to the customer what customer needs. You cannot decide that I will give this, let customer take or not take. That whole concept is lost. You need to now give it what customer needs, not what you like. And most of these businesses are failure because what we do is we do it to satisfy our ego, or satisfy our own experience. We don't do to satisfy the user experience, or we don't do things that what the user will like to use it. It's always that what I think, that is not important. It's always important what they think, and that's how you will be successful. Yeah. So this was a very a privilege. Gojek, if you have traveled to Southeast Asian countries, It's a quite popular two-wheeler bike, which is very popular in Indonesia, and I have privileged to be used it for 5 years. They are quite helpful. If you travel to Jakarta, Jakarta is known as city of traffic, and this is the most successful mobility over there. So we said Grab, and Grab is again it's present in Southeast Asian countries, quite popular, similar to what is Ola is here, and of course you know Uber and Ola. So why I shared this is, see, the whole concept of shared economy. People thought COVID will come and the whole concept of shared economy will go, but this is all I always see as a positive person. This is always a small break. Things will bounce back. People are traveling. I'm just standing front of my office looking at people going to the check-in counter. So whole experience will come back. This is all short time, and the shared economy will continue, because we all as a youngster, I look at this group and I see most of us are very young, and we believe that we don't need to own something. If you can share and use it, and that's how the future also is going to be. Yeah, Tanmay. So the next part, what I wanted to share it with you is, this is something which I learned in Gatwick Airport. So what they do is, if you have your car, you park it, and what they do is they rent your car to somebody to drive, and by this what happens, you earn and some extra income, and your parking charges get paid off. So this is something which is evolving, not very started, because in India the private vehicles are not supposed to ferry passengers, but going forward this will come to India also, that if you have a private car, why should you leave it idle? It can be used by somebody who can drive and bring it back and leave it there, and he ends up paying you for that rate, and that rate compensate you for your parking, and also makes you some additional money. So whole these concepts are come back, and hope, I think this also will be a huge innovation in India too, and hope Nitin Gadkari ji approves it. Yeah. See, this is something which I'm very personally associated. That the guy in Bangalore who created this airport taxi concept was my mentor actually, Mr. Venkat Raman. He was head of landside traffic, and very fascinating guy. So those era of 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 12, if you see, these Ola and Uber, the concept whole came in 2012 and 2011, if I'm right, uh, because I had moved out of Bangalore, and that is an era when it. But this whole concept of the single brand identity which was created in Bangalore, I think if you have used it, it's quite successful model on the whole transportation option from the airport. So I'm very passionate about the this whole concept which was created at Bangalore airport. So again, why I'm showing you all this is, lot of time what we have done is we have focused in the terminal, we focus in the air side, but we forget the land side area. And if you see all the successful tourist destination in the world, they provide you affordable transport option, and that is how you see why Thailand is quite successful. Is when once you arrive in Thailand, any of the cities, you get the most affordable transportation to go to your hotel. Unlike India, you just need to be dependent on. See, if you go to Mangalore or if you go to any city, you are dependent on the car rental, or if you have a family person who picks you up. But the whole model, the way it has been developed in other tourist destination, is the kind of affordable transportation which is provided to you to reach to your final destination is quite affordable. And in India, you take a 3,000 ticket of Indigo and fly to one destination. But if you have to go from there to next 80 kilometers, you have to end up paying 2,000 for your car rental. So these things also stop people from experiencing and traveling around. So hence we need to take care of these aspects also. So key takeaway on the travel options is, where at the airport, as a user, as a person, as a commercial guy, my one of my motivation has been that I should offer an affordable transportation for the passengers from the airport to reach their destination, and from their destination reach to the airport. So I'm personally working on that, and I feel I'll be successful going forward, because I put in my energy, and next 3 4 months I should be successful in creating that model, at least what is not there now, going forward. So that's a key takeaway. So this is very iconic picture, that when you create anything, it should be usable by anybody and everybody. Uh, and hence technology should be used, which can be followed by everybody. And we should not just, copy and paste things, but we should really do it when it is really required. So that's from my side. I hope I have not bored you for 1 hour. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you, Mitthun sir, for those wonderful insights. I mean, there is a lot of takeaways for us, as individuals and for students as well. I mean, concepts like dwell time and which layout is the best when it comes to duty-free shopping from the commercial perspective. Then the whole important idea of looking beyond duty-frees and going to innovative areas like parking lots and how money can be generated out there. Also, the importance of surface access strategies, and that is where majority of the airports in India is lagging, as you mentioned in the final couple of slides, that airports are very poorly connected with the local infrastructure. And that is where sometimes, as you mentioned, flight tickets may be in the range of 3,000, but the distance from the airport to, let's say, an X hotel will cost the user 2,000 rupees. So I'm sure that, like me as well, you will have a lot of curiosity in you, and you will have a lot of questions to ask to our speaker for the day, Mitthun sir. So I will request everyone to put your questions in the respective chat boxes, and from there it will be answered one by one. So kindly use the chat boxes now, and you have got 5 minutes to sort of put down your questions. And as it is mentioned out here, curiosity is the engine of achievement. So put down your curiosities, and we will answer them one by one. Right. Now, as you put down your questions, let me just talk you through some of the upcoming courses at Udaan Aviation Academy, which are completely focused on the airport side of stuff. Okay. So the first course, which we are coming up on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of November, is the Airport Management Fundamentals. Now, over here, the idea of this course is to give you of how airport planning works. What are the different terminal designs out there? What are the merits and demerits of certain terminal design? What is IATA level of service concepts? So what are greenfield airport? What are brownfield airports? So these are a couple of things which we'll see in day one. On day two, we are going to talk about business models of the airport. And that is where today's session comes a bit handy as well, because we are going to talk about aero revenue and non-aeronautical revenue. And you will be amazed as to see how car parks have played a major part in the success of non-aero revenues out there in European airport, as sir rightly mentioned. Now, day three is about airport emergency planning. I mean, things are fine as long as things are going well. But what if when things go wrong in an airport? Okay, what kind of AEP or airport emergency planning should be done in order to overcome those hazardous situations? So this is what is the first course which we are launching. On 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We have already done 2 batches of the same, and we have got wonderful responses. The next course, which we are coming up on 27, 28, and 29th November, is airport ramp operations and ground handling. Now, we all know that how demanding is ground handling jobs in today's state. Okay, particularly if you look at majority of the job profiles out there for undergrads and for someone who has passed their 12th, ground handling plays a very handy option. So keeping the market forecast into mind, we have came up with airport ramp operations and ground handling course. So day one is all about turnaround coordination. Okay, so arrival, departure, and turnaround sequence. What is the turnaround sequence? What are the different elements and what are the different groups which come together and foresee the turnaround on gates, on remote gates, and so on and so forth. Day two is all about the very important aircraft weight and balance. Okay, so the aircraft needs to be properly balanced. The weight should be properly placed down so that there is very less turbulence in the flight. So that's where day two comes into equation: aircraft load and trim sheet and ground support equipment. So you have got GPU, you have got the air conditioning units and different equipments which are used during the ramp operations. That is what we'll cover in day two. Day three is the very important ramp safety. Okay, so how safety is to be done while you are working on the ramp, incident and accident reporting, and the very important dangerous goods. So how to identify dangerous goods as a ramp agent, and how then those should be handled. This is what will be covered in these courses. Now, the link for all of these courses, I believe, is given in the chat box. So you can go out there, you can click on the link and know more about it. If someone wants to do this dual course together, get in touch with Team Udaan and they will know more about it and they will tell you more about it. Well, they'll talk you through the discounts and so on and so forth. Now, without any further ado, let me start with the Q&A session. So let me just quickly go through the chats which are available. Yeah. One second. Yeah, perfect. So the first question is from Arjun, and he is asking, Mitthun sir, are you with me?
Yes, please.
Yes, perfect. So the first question is from Arjun, and he is asking, how can students enter the business and non-aeronautical side of airport as a career options? Right. So from the career standpoint, how students can enroll non-aeronautical side of the airport business? Is there any particular roadmap which you want to discuss?
Sure. See, Arjun, one of the way has been that you should start observing the behavior of the people. So, if you want to enter a non-aeronautical revenue, you should be good at analyzing people's behavior. But to start with, I think you should start your career with any of the retail outlet or F&B outlet to get little bit of experience understanding how all these things functions. And currently, if you see most of the, and you should be good at your analytical skill, right? And currently, if you see, even our airports are going forward, people are started taking people with 1 or 2 years of experience into retail and analytical side. So look for any of the retail company to start with, and that's how you can start. Because I'll tell you, I started with Levi's. My first job, I was very young when in my university. I started working in the evening for 4 hours in Levi's store, and they used to pay me that time around 3,000 rupees. Long time back actually, but they was quite paying well. So you should start with any of the retail shop. That's what I can suggest.
Right. Thank you, sir. So it's all about starting from the outlets. True. Thank you. The next question is from Keev, and he is asking, do specific retail stores are staged at a certain position depending on if it's a domestic or international terminal? So कुछ shop के locations strategically placed होते हैं domestics or international terminals में?
True. See, one of the factor in international domestic, the differentiation is the international. You definitely have this duty free, but the profile of packs in international, right, is always assumed. Whether it is right or wrong, we don't know, but it is always assumed that international passengers has better paying capacity because he's traveling and maybe he's earning overseas. So he has better paying capacity. So international passengers are always
Mithun sir, are you there with
they might not
us?
be right.
Right.
Yes. You
Yeah.
can hear me?
Yeah. Now we can hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have lost you in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, no. So what I'm saying is, we always it is assumed that the international packs paying capacity is better than the domestic. Hence, if you see most of these outlet which has placed have taken all this profile in consideration. But for domestic, what has happened with India is because the packs growth before COVID has been double digit. It has grown double digit. So what has happened is with this double digit is uh, the area has reduced, the passenger numbers have grown double, the space have reduced, hence they have not been able to offer more of commercial. Take an example of Bangalore airport. Bangalore was hitting a range of 20% passenger growth. So you cannot grow your retail and F&B spaces in domestic, but international there was huge opportunity. So you might have seen lack of placing or differentiation also because of the infrastructure availability. But just to give you a touching point, if you see the domestic profile packs of Mumbai airport are better than the international. Their spending power is much better than the international packs. and we all understand why it is, because it's more of business travelers who are traveling in Mumbai.
Right.
So it is also done because of the infrastructure and also the motivation of travel.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. Right, sir. So the next question is, do you think that tier 2 and tier 3 city airport curbsides will be openly used for people for leisure? So the curbside areas at tier 2 and tier 3 cities are not that accessible like Mumbai or Delhi, where people can just hang out for a coffee, not
Correct.
particularly for flight operations. So do you think the same trend happening in tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
See, the best part, he asked very interesting question. All our airports which Adani won, especially Ahmedabad, Jaipur, and Lucknow, these are all city center airports, right? And there's a huge potential of development of the real estate and a shopping destination. So if you see the going forward, this is what we are going to implement. So yeah, touched upon, yes, Jaipur, Lucknow, you will see the best of shopping experience coming in those airports in the landside area, which will attract not only the travelers but also the non-traveler who are living in the catchment area. So the whole focus on the business of these airport, which came 6 airports, and going forward the another 6 plus another 6, the whole concept has will be on the city side development. So you will see huge focus from also the airport operator.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, looking forward to Adani's and tier 2 airports for sure. Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Nikhilesh, and we'll take another 2 3 questions because I think we are running out of time. So the next question is from Nikhilesh, and he asks, sir, how much space difference required from one retail to another retail at city side area? So what is the space difference which is required at city side area between two shops?
See, the whole concept of the retail space is there is all of a urgency. You should not be creating a space difference. What we say is how concept you create. So I think you guys have traveled to Bangalore airport, and you might have seen the concept of quad, right? Where you have all this high-end bar and restaurants along with the retails offering. So there's nothing thumb rule or there's a standard, but always it happens how, what is your concept you are creating in. So you cannot create, see, landside, we should be very careful. You cannot create retail separate and F&B separate. So people will not go to retail shop and there'll not be any sale happening. So the whole
Right.
concept is you need to integrate retail with F&B. So people will definitely eat, but while they're eating, if they find something interesting, they can definitely shop. So that thing has to be kept in mind.
Right, right. And yeah, sir. So we have got a couple of interesting questions coming from YouTube as well. So one of the
Mm.
question which one of the viewers have asked is, if retail shops in an airport are paying rent based on revenue sharing, there are chances on manipulating sales data. As an airport operator, how it can be prevented?
See,
So,
again, so what has happened is there's a model of all these shops which has given, especially in Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai case. All this data gets transferred to the airport in a real time way. So because we run these outlets on the revenue sharing and minimum guarantee method, so most of this hardware and this software is owned by the airport. So
right,
the retailer, whatever transaction is doing through our system. So
right,
we are getting a live transactions, and plus there's a concept of mystery shopping, RLCC, revenue leakage mechanism put in place. So all these
right,
things airports are doing it, and again we need to work with the trusted brands. Definitely I can give example. If I work with HMS or I work with Reliance, I don't need to worry on all these things. This happens
right.
with the small the tea shops and all those things, but the big brands, they don't do. You have KFC, they will never do that because they are also compliant with monitoring and things like that. But of course your question is, there will always be few loopholes, but that is what airports are doing it by owning the system of billing.
Right. Perfect, perfect. So, sir, one last two questions. This one is from Rahul. So, what all factors go into the pricing of outlets in the airport? So, how the pricing of outlets are done at airport. Just a quick idea. Yeah.
Correct. See, the pricing concept, again, I said, if you have seen the most successful airport, and I give always example for Changi, the reason why I like is you should not be charging so high that passengers do not buy, and you should not be charging so low that you don't give a quality of service which is there. So our pricing strategy has been, we
True.
understand the PAX profile and their PAX. The reason why we understand PAX profile is, for like an airport like Ahmedabad and Lucknow, we will always have the blue collar employees also traveling, right? Now I cannot sell anything about 600 and 700. I have to sell something which is affordable to them, say about 80 rupees, 100 rupees, 50 rupees, or a bottle of water. So I have to ensure that I take care of all the passengers who are traveling from my airport. I cannot
Right.
become very expensive airport, because FMB, to be frank, you guys will be aware, FMB is a necessity. It is not that airport should control and sell only expensive item. That's a wrong experience actually. So I can conclude saying that you should have everything for anybody, and any and everything for everybody. That is what whole philosophy should be there.
Right.
Yeah.
True, sir. And one final question. This is coming from Jay. Now, Jay is asking, what disadvantage does Adani airports have, because they have taken all brownfield airports, okay, whether it is Ahmedabad, Lucknow, as compared to the ones when you take, complete from, scratch airports, the greenfield airports one. So, what are the disadvantage which Adani is looking at? Yeah.
I can not say disadvantage. I can say there's advantage. The reason being, when you take a brownfield airport, there's always expectation for people that you will change this airport, right? So when
Right.
we took over this airport, within third day, people look that yes, there is a change. So there's always opportunity. You should never say disadvantage. But yes, when you take a greenfield airport, you can plan it well, you can design it well. Look at Bangalore, look at Hyderabad, look at
Right.
T3. So you can plan it well. You can design it well. You can provide a good experience. With the brownfield, challenges comes, because they're old building, and people
Right.
see like they were built 10 years, 15 years back, and now you are in era of 2020. So expectation of people have already been of 2025. So
Right.
there's always challenge, but okay, that's where people like us and professional like you come in picture. We can
Definitely.
create difference.
Right, right. And I mean, obviously, the traveler patterns have also changed in recent times. I mean, the youth loves more of online and those kind of stuff. So the airport also need to incorporate those philosophies, right? True, sir.
No, no,
So
definitely.
yeah, right.
See, that's why you see all these successful airports. There's concept of digital marketplace, right?
Mm, mm,
So before I conclude, see, whole concept before airport was you used to get the brand in the airport which was not available in downtown, and
right.
that's how people used to buy. But now it is almost common. So how you differentiate it, right? So there's a whole concept of digital marketplace and things will come in, but it will take time. It is good to hear in webinar that Heathrow has done like this, Auckland has done like this, but
Right.
we should also understand the realistic picture of our people,
Right.
our profile, and then we built up case on that. So that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that exciting Q&A session. I'll request all the participants to go into the chat box and fill our feedback form. Okay, so how did you like the webinar? Please let us know in the feedbacks form. And with this, just last couple of announcement for you guys. So Udaan Aviation Academy, for the first time in India, has launched a Discord server. Okay, now Discord server is basically a place where like-minded people or aviation-minded people come and share their views and ideas. So any general discussion on aviation, or aviation news, aviation live game streaming, or aviation memes, all of these things for to the community, for the community, by the community, is what can be shared in the Discord server. Okay, so the link for the Discord server is also given. This is something which is happening for the first time, and I want all of you to be a part of it and enhance your knowledge on aviation. Just enjoy the part of being an aviator and join our Discord server. I would also like to thank, first of all, Mitthun sir, for your valuable contributions for this respective webinar and sharing your valuable insights into non-aero revenue. Secondly, I would like to thank all our partners, so Udaan Institute of Management Studies, Streamline Aviation Academy, GMR Aviation Academy, Eagletronics Aviation, and freepassers.com. Now, we are there on all social media platforms, so kindly follow us on LinkedIn, shout out us on Instagram and Facebook, and we shall see you all. So stay connected with us on social media for the latest from Udaan Aviation Academy. And with that, I would like to sort of conclude this webinar. Thank you to all the participants, and thank you to our guest, Mitthun sir, for your valuable insights. And thank you for being such a wonderful crowd out here. Just one more thing, the questions which are not answered, we'll try to get them answered to you. We'll download the chat and we'll get them answered for you. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Mitthun sir, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.